The idea of a franchise is a significant investment. A lot of franchisees are funding this with, savings, utilizing an SBA loan with we'll call it a 20, 30% down payment. Maybe it's a ROBS, rollover business startup, where you're utilizing retirement assets or even a home equity line of credit. There's so many different ways, which we covered in our funding podcast, but the franchisor is really accelerating things in order to get that franchise owner up and running so that they can start earning back on their investment. We talk about the idea of cash return. So whatever money you're putting down, maybe it's that 20% in the SBA loan, getting up and running, generating revenue so that you can earn back the money you invested in that business. Going back to support, the major theme of the conference. I'm not saying that's all we covered, but that was a very common theme, especially when we sat down and spoke with the franchise companies one-on-one. They really cared for their franchisees. They really wanted to get those franchisees up and running, especially if they're leaving their jobs, right, full time in order to launch this business. So decreasing time to get up and running was big. Cutting costs. We heard from multiple brands specifically that were offering their franchise was in the venue, we call it a brick and mortar setting. So whether it be a standalone building, many of them we talk with were in a build out of 1,000 to 2,000 square feet in a shopping center, shopping mall, cutting costs for things like cutting the footprint of the actual space, offering multiple options of, depending on the footprint and how large of an investment you want to make. In other cases, just permanently reducing the footprint for that specific brand in order to keep costs low, staff and what we call headcount as low as possible, and things like that. So really digging into the numbers, utilizing the feedback, the numbers that each and every one of the franchisees are sending in that they are disclosing in the item 19 in the financial representation, assuming they have a year under their belts at year-end close, utilizing that information, comparing it, digging into the financials to see where they can improve. How do they lower cost of goods? How do they lower overall expense? Various other items in order to keep that franchise owner as profitable as possible, especially that first year, which we did a show talking about the builder year, getting that business up and running.
Physical space isn't the only way to earn. What if your customers could keep paying you long after they leave your store?